What's up, everybody, and welcome to Pizza and Pixels, the show where JP and I order a pizza and talk about video games until that pizza shows up. I am one of your hosts, Josh, aka HexxedPhenom, aka the Sony Jabroni, and joined by the power of the internet, the abstract rocker, JP. JP, what's going on?
Oh, it's going, man, and quarantine struggles, so we have a pizza right here, and I'm gonna make it on this episode right here today. Good old Lunchable pizza never fails.
This is the first ever Pizza and Pixels where we've made the pizza ourselves, so
I know.
It's just historic. But
I know, hell, even if we got time, I could toast that bad boy in the oven too. Struggles.
But this show goes live every other Saturday on youtube.com/HexxedPhenom or on podcast services around the globe, places like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, really any podcast service of your choosing. And with that being said, we're going to get into some of the gaming news that we've missed over the past week or two. And we're going to start off with the story that I guess pertains most to my channel. WWE says there's no WWE 2K21.
Are we really surprised?
No, but...
But...
This
definitely...
one's... Oh, no, sorry, go ahead.
Interesting topic nonetheless, though.
Yeah. This article is by Matt Kim over at IGN. WWE confirmed in today's first quarter earnings call that WWE 2K21 has in fact been canceled. During a Q&A, WWE interim chief financial officer Frank Riddick revealed there's not going to be a launch of a game this year, when asked about a new WWE 2K title. The confirmation follows rumors that WWE 2K21 was canceled this year. There's been some turbulence with the WWE 2K series after WWE 2K20 was panned by critics for its poor performance, numerous glitches, and bugs.
Wow, it's crazy because when I think about it, I was looking at this last night as the article popped up on my phone. So GameSpot gave it a 2 out of 10, and they don't give those 2 out of 10s that often. So I was like,
yeah, I know.
I was like, shit. So crazy shit.
Developer Visual Concepts also took over the WWE 2K series after longtime Japanese developer Yuke's announced it would depart from the series to work on its own wrestling game. While there has been rumors that WWE 2K21 was canceled for weeks now, 2K Games has not commented on the situation. When IGN reached out to the developer earlier this month, the company responded that it would, quote, not comment on rumors and speculation. IGN has reached out to 2K once again, following today's comments from WWE. Meanwhile, you can read IGN's WWE 2K20 review here. And then there's an update. There's an update that came out this morning. It says, update will learn the future of the WWE 2K series, as well as some unspecified WWE game news on Monday. The WWE Games Twitter account announced the news, saying we'd learn more on April 27th at 7 a.m. Pacific, 10 a.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. UK, and midnight AEST. The post reads, we will be sharing details on the future of the WWE 2K franchise, as well as some exciting news on Monday at 7 a.m. Pacific time.
Yeah, I was going to say, the 7 a.m. mark is kind of weird. I thought they would have done it at noon Pacific time. 7 a.m., I don't know who the hell is going to be awake to hear the future of WWE 2K. I'm sure as hell not going to be awake for that. So I guess the question is, for a while now, we've heard that there is a different WWE game coming this year. What do you think it is?
I mean,
I have a few ideas of what it could be.
I don't want to get my hopes up and think that it's a SmackDown Here Comes the Pain remaster or remake or whatever.
Yep.
But I
wouldn't rule it out, though.
I wouldn't rule it out, but I don't think it's going to be a SmackDown Here Comes the Pain remaster in the way that people think it's going to be. I don't think it's going to be...
You mean like that Smack Talks thing, how someone perfectly rendered the engine? I mean, 2K could easily do that. I mean, people love that.
Granted, I never played SmackDown Here Comes the Pain, so I don't know what the roster looks like, but I don't know. I feel like they might have issues with licensing some of those things.
I think what they would do... Yeah, if you even want to see a photo, if you just even search it up, you'll see a photo of Brock Lesnar and The Undertaker next, literally one-on-one in the ring on the remastered whatever someone made of this game. So like it could easily happen because it's just an advanced AKI engine. That's all they were doing back then, and then those games are incredible, which leads me to say that Ukes is definitely working on the AEW video game. There is no doubts in my mind that they are not working with AEW, but that should probably be announced at some point during the summer, from what people are saying, because I know Kenny Omega and Cody Rhodes are saying that there is an announcement coming soon about the video game. So maybe spring 2021, we're going to see that. I know they're not going to compete with WWE. That's just foolish, even though they would beat them in the market. But yeah, if they did a SmackDown, I should say, I almost said SmackDown versus Raw. If they did that, that would be cool too. But if they did a SmackDown Here Comes the Pain remaster, the ideology behind it is that they would take the roster from the game that they had in terms of who they can get their rights on. So the cool part is seeing how Hulk Hogan, the Ultimate Warrior, Jeff Hardy, Al Snow, like all these people were cut from the original game. You would actually be able to play as Jeff Hardy, Hulk Hogan, the Ultimate Warrior, because Hulk Hogan had 3 attires in the game, I believe. He had the Hollywood Hulk Hogan, he had the normal Hulk Hogan, and he had the classic Hulk Hogan. So, I think they could easily salvage the people that did not make it to the game, because there was many people on that list that did not make it for many reasons, whether it was the invasion or contract or just didn't make sense. I mean, Jeff Hardy left for drug rehabilitation, but he refused, so he got released. And Hogan left. Ultimate Warrior sued them. So I mean, I think now they could really make something out of these roster slots that were not filled on the original game. But then on top of that, even in the game in general, they had literally Undertaker current, and they had the retro Undertaker. So I feel like they could just take that concept and keep rolling with it, and then they could throw the modern roster into the game, because it's not that hard to make a remaster of a classic AKI engine game. I mean, 2K, I think, in my opinion, I think 2K wastes their time on this simulation aspect.
Yeah, definitely.
The majority of the fans do not want it. I mean, 2K19, in my opinion, is probably the best we're ever going to get from 2K.
I think it was an interesting attempt to see what a simulation wrestling game could be like, or what it would be like, but it just doesn't work.
It's just, it just doesn't flow, because, I mean, even from us playing online and in the THQ, I should say the THQ games that then turned to 2K14, like, you see all these cool things you could do, like the elements and the physics with the weapons, and you could set tables up wherever you want, and any weapons possible, and like crazy moves happen. But the thing is, like, as they went so far into the simulation, it lost the feel of what was a WWE video game, because the point of the games was not to be realism. It was supposed to be, arcade, fun, some simulation aspects, but not a lot. And I think 2K kind of, they took the direction. I mean, 2K19, I think, is the best 2K blooded game we're going to get from them. But the Here Comes the Pain remaster would be something new.
I think a more realistic approach to what this game could be is, I think they'll take the basis of the style of SmackDown Here Comes the Pain and just recreate that in a modern engine, but they won't it won't be called it won't be a SmackDown Here Comes the Pain remaster, but it'll be a modernized version of that engine with current day superstars, current day arenas, current day
Yep. And maybe as a nostalgic factor, just to get people in on the game, I think they should include the original arenas in the game. I think that would be something. Now, I don't think they're going to keep the classic THQ reference to the WWF in the game. If many people recall, and many people probably didn't see this because this is before YouTube and all that crap came around, but at the Rebellion Arena, the last time they did that, they were the WWF in 2002. So a year and a half later, Here Comes the Pain comes out, and in the Rebellion Arena, for about a quarter of a second, as it's going around with the fist turning and it shows the logo, it's the WWF logo. Now, will they actually keep little tiny nods like that? I think that would be cool, but I don't know if they're gonna bother. But yeah, even like the season mode and Here Comes the Pain, like Here Comes the Pain to this day, I'd say is probably the best game besides WWF No Mercy. You know, if they can make a game that combine those two elements, and apparently AEW is trying to do that No Mercy feel, I think we could see some really damn good nostalgia, and people will pay some serious fucking money for that. There's no doubts about it.
See, I think realistically, I don't know what they're going to do, but I think if they did do something similar to Here Comes the Pain, I don't think it would be like a direct remaster or anything. Like, I don't think it would even have any mention of Here Comes the Pain. It would just be like a spiritual successor to it. You know what I mean? Like, it would probably just be called like WWE, I don't know, fucking WWE fucking Brawlers or some shit. I don't know. But it would just be like all of like, you know, the modern roster, the modern arenas, but it would play similar to
Here Comes the Pain,
and it would have like the season mode and all the other cool shit that this game had.
Yeah, like it's just kind of funny because when you look at the games like Smackdown, Shut Your Mouth, and Here Comes the Pain, those are like the almighty PlayStation installment games. And you look at that, and there's so much stuff that they did back then, even on the PS1 with SmackDown 2, that somehow 2K can't do in 2020 with modern technology, like branching stories and you know, you have text scrolling kind of stuff. But like you know, when you think about it, before voiceovers happened, because SmackDown vs. Raw was the first game to do that in 2004. God, I remember when that game came out. That makes me feel old, even though I'm really not old right now. But you know, you saw all the stuff they could do.
Yeah.
And even with voiceovers, you could still do all the crazy shit. Like SmackDown vs. Raw 06, they were all really great. 2007 was solid. And they're all really damn good installments. And then you see what 2K does, and like literally they could really barely make a My Career mode that's even half-assed. Like I don't know if they take it seriously. I think 2K, and I always have felt this way, I think 2K looks at the WWE series as a cash cow while they could fund NBA. And NBA is a way better series from 2K. I mean, it's blatantly obvious, but if they put the thought that they do in the NBA, can you imagine where 2K WWE games would be? They'd be far in the spectrum, honestly.
Well, see, there's a weird duality with the NBA games, because they are kind of forced to put so much time into that, because not only is it a much bigger franchise, but there's also significantly more modes that they need to work on. So it's not just My Career and then exhibition games. It's My Career, then there's the exhibition matches, then there's online, there's
franchise
My
mode.
Team, franchise, seasons.
In WWE for years. Yeah, it's crazy. Like, you know, like NBA games are always. I mean, yeah, you know, they you know, they've had their downs and their ups as always with any series, but like, doesn't it seem like they just kind of just look at WWE and go, yeah, we're the only wrestling game in town. We're gonna make money.
Well, I think another thing is like with NBA, I feel like they have. Well, I mean, I guess it probably helps that they don't own the exclusive rights to NBA anymore, because now NBA Live sometimes comes out. They seem to be very inconsistent.
NBA Live is like that other thing, and like I miss the street games personally. I thought those.
Dude. Literally every game from EA Big was the shit.
EA Big. Okay, EA Big
FIFA
was...
Street, Madden Street, NBA Street, Freak Style, the SSX games. Dude, they made some fucking
SSX.
bangers.
Like, in my opinion, SSX could easily be remastered, and you could be sitting on millions of fucking dollars right
I
there.
would play the shit out of an SSX Tricky or SSX 3 remaster. Holy shit.
I think they should just remaster Tricky and 3 and put it into a brand new game. I think that'd be great. You could just pay $60 whole for 2 old games and a brand new experience. That'd be dope. Online play. That'd be sweet. Oh yeah, like it's just crazy. Like, okay, so like with the fate of the WWE series, there's many things that are really missing. It's blatantly obvious. For one, they could easily bring in franchise mode, which has been demanded for 3 years now. They have not done shit. they could improve the online play and make it like the Ukes games, like the THQ Ukes games, when people love playing online. I mean, I'm sure you have many experiences. I know you were late to the party on it, but like it was still a fun time on those servers, you know?
Yeah.
And now it's just, you know, you cherry pick your opponents, you know, you can leave whenever you want. No one cares about anything. They just want to get a win. No one wants to have fun. It's very serious. You know, like my career in 2K19, I thought was really, really damn good. I know in 2K20 it was atrocious, but that game kind of just speaks for itself. You know, like they kind of just cut a lot of crap that people really enjoyed. I mean, the Creative Championship, the Creative Championship wasn't even in 2K20, was it? Because they had to strip the game.
Not at the launch. Yeah, not at launch. It got added in like January or some shit, but it's not even like they made any massive improvements either. Actually, I'd say it's worse than the 2K19 one, because it's just the same tools ported into the game, but there's so many fucking glitches with it, just like with everything else in the game, that it's basically makes it worse than the previous iterations.
I just think it's funny how they couldn't copy 2K19 because that was in direct mandate of copyright with Ukes, so they had to go back to 2K18 and strip this game and try to like.
And they had to rebuild it on their in-house engine so that they didn't have to pay any licensing fees.
And you know, it was just funny then too, because like 2K18 was a disaster. So I don't know what they were thinking from the beginning. Like 2K18, I think could have been great. I mean, me going back and trying to grind that final level 10 my career trophy, you know, looking at it, I'm like, wow, this game could have really been good. They just took all the shortcuts and they really just threw it all together as a shit show. And they were like, oh, 2K18, pay your money. Oh, and then there was the DLC plan that absurdly failed. I'm still kind of pissed about that today. Yeah. Especially with the boys being added last when they got added in, they weren't even up to date anymore.
Yep.
Yeah, there's so many things. I don't think 2K really did anything right with the series. I think they just tried to make it kind of like a level with the fans from the THQ games. But you know, if they really wanted to try this again with 2K22 when it happens, you know, I think they should take 2K19 and they should recode it somehow and make it the same game. And then they should add in GM mode, franchise mode, and they should, you know, improve the online and add some new matches. And, you know, I think they could really have something. But 2K21, dude, that game was dead in the water, I think, even when 2K20 came out.
You're not wrong.
I think it's just sad that 2K went ahead with putting out 2K20. Because WWE was like, do you guys need time? Is there going to be a game? We have all these updates. Like, can you guys keep up? Oh, yeah, we could do it. Oh yeah, they did it. It came to the point where WWE actually stopped mentioning the game, I believe, a month after release, actually. Because they used to have all those matches like, yeah, you can play this match in 2K20. And
I remember that.
Yeah. So, I really do hope it is Here Comes the Pain, like AKI engine kind of WWE game. I think the world would love that right now, because honestly, if they don't do that right now and AEW comes out with an AKI game, I should say, you you lost. There's no way you're getting the money back because AEW is going to take the crowd.
Honestly,
it's just practical.
I think what they should do, and I know this goes completely against how sports games are typically treated, but I wouldn't mind them take, like, assuming they haven't already been working on it, taking like a year or two and just making this hybrid SmackDown Here Comes the Pain type wrestling game that we were talking about, and having it, you could have like the simulation look like, have the realistic graphics, especially because at this point it'll be coming out on PS5 and Xbox Series X. Take the power of those, get some good frame rates going, make this shit look beautiful, but also have it be this arcadey style that everyone wants, and add back in the franchise mode, a good career mode, seasons. Career mode. Honestly, season mode, franchise mode, GM mode, and universe mode can all be just within universe mode, because that's kind of, I mean, maybe not GM mode because that is pretty different, but at least like franchise, season, and universe could all be the same thing. for the most part. Like, it could all be integrated into one.
Well, like, the thing is, it's not even that damn hard to write a great WWE game. I mean, hell, you look back at some of the storylines they had in SmackDown Shut Your Mouth, SmackDown Here Comes the Pain. Hell, even on the damn PlayStation, like, these storylines were so, like, when you looked into them, they were very shallow, but the way they played out, they added so much depth that it kept you playing, and it kept grinding, and next thing you know, you were 10 years into your season mode, and you're like, wow, time flew by, and now, dude, like, my career for what it is, it's just like, it's chapter by chapter, and it's like, do I really have to play this right now? Do I want to play this right now?
My career this year is basically just one really long showcase mode for your my character, like for your my career characters.
Yeah, doesn't it start out with you going into the Hall of Fame, and then it goes to you like in a cafeteria getting bullied or something?
Basically, the whole story is like, your two characters are in present day, like on the day of the Hall of Fame ceremony, being inducted into the Hall of Fame. And basically, you're just like going through the whole day as them like talking to other wrestlers. And they'll be like, oh, remember that one time when you had this match? And then you'll do like a flashback and play that match. And they're like, oh yeah, what about when I had this next match? And then they just go to the next match that you play. And I'm like, this is so fucking stupid.
So basically, it was 2K thinking, guys, we're gonna fail epically this year. We need something that could work, guys.
It was a decent effort considering what they did with the My Career, you know, in the past couple iterations, and also it was cool to have a female My Career character. But like,
yeah, that was something cool for once. That was pretty cool. It just sucks it happened in 2K20 all games.
Well, yeah, but like, the worst part about it is like, obviously, like we were saying before about branching storylines and being able to make your choice. The only choices you have in My Career in 2K20 is just what your characters look like. Everything plays out the same regardless. Like, you can't, because it's built like a showcase mode. If you fail an objective, you just have to restart the match. Like, I would like to see something dynamic where, like, if you fail an objective, maybe that means that, like, you don't get a title shot now, or maybe you don't make the Royal Rumble match or something like that.
Yeah, like, one thing I realize is, 2K, like, 2K, you could clearly tell that I think 2K just bought the WWE series to make money.
Obviously, definitely.
You can tell without a doubt they don't give a fuck about the fans. And that's why they're in their current scenario, and they rightfully deserve it.
And that's, like, speaking from, like, a very narrow lens. Like, I'm sure there are a lot of people on the dev team who actually do give a shit, but
they can't do what they want to do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm sure they don't have the funding to do what they want to do either, because each game in this series since I think 2K14 has been dropping in sales slower and slower. And
and I mean, I personally love 2K17, 2K19. The top three I would say is 2K19, 2K17, 2K14. I know 2K14 isn't really a 2K game, but it has that fucking banner on it, so it's like, all right. Other than that, you got the 2K15 disaster. 2K16, one hell of a step in the right direction, but not as good. 2K17, right on the money for where it was. 2K18, absolute disaster. 2K19, hell yeah, this is what we want. 2K20, flaming dumpster.
To be fair, 2K19 isn't what we want. It's just, it was the best of their
option
of their, like, super simulation bullshit. But like,
I gotta admit though, I really do like 2K19 though. I will say, as a hardcore WWE fan that's played all the WWE WWF games, I do like WWE 2K19 mainly because I think that's the best we're gonna get from 2K in terms of a 2K simulation game. I think that's the best. They really tried. My career and everything in the game was as best as it could be. I was very happy. They even gave you the option road to glory that you don't have to face people if you don't want to. That's totally cool. But then 2K20 just right down the tubes. But we'll have to see what happens. You know, I'm hoping that this AKI Here Comes the Pain concept is the next thing, because it's really what people want. They don't want realism. Like, who the hell wants realism when you have real life? If that was the case, I could just go be a wrestler in a local independent promotion.
Yeah.
You know, if I'm playing a video game, I want to escape reality in some way. And this isn't like NBA. This isn't the NFL. This is wrestling. You know, it's not a full real sport. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm hoping they can figure it out. Man, I swear, if they come back with WWE Brawl, that canceled game from the PS3, I am so not buying it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Have you seen that game?
I've seen it probably a long time ago. It's not like I can't think of it off the top of my head, but I'm sure I have seen it at some point.
Yeah, it's like Mortal Kombat, except with WWE.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, I do remember that. Yeah, but so realistically, what do you think this, just hypothetically, what do you think this announcement will actually be on Monday? Do you think it's actually going to be something exciting, or do you think it's going to be something like generic, like PR statement, like, oh, you know, we're really disappointed to not be able to bring 2K21 to the fans, but, you know, we're going to take this extra time to make 2K22 even better, yay, and it'll release on PS5 and Xbox Series X fall 2021. Do you think it's going to be something generic like that, or do you think it's going to actually be something exciting?
You know, to be honest with you, I think that, well, they're without a doubt going to say 2K21 is not happening. Where they go from there, I'd like to hope that they announce this, like, this Here Comes the Pain thing that they've been talking about. That would be, I think, the right way to go. I think everybody would be very excited. I think morale would be the highest it probably has ever been in 2K WWE games history. Right then and there, if you announce that, you know, 2K21 off the table. Because honestly, nobody was going to buy it anyway. So
I mean, at this point, like, you and I have had this conversation before off camera, but sports games typically have like a 10, 11-month development cycle.
Yep.
WWE came out in, what, November? So they've had like 2 months to work on the next game, and now they're all working from home, presumably.
Yeah.
For the foreseeable future. So there's no way in fucking hell this game is getting done. So there's no point in even trying to release it, or else it'll be probably worse than 2K20, if you can believe that.
Plus, oh god, I don't even want to think that, dude. Like, when you say it could be worse than 2K20, 2K20 is arguably the worst wrestling game that has ever been made. So I can't imagine how worse that could get, you know. And I played all the damn games, you know. So like there's been some horrible ones in the batch, but you know, if they made WWE 2K21, I mean, let's be real. I think 2K. See, here's the thing. Even if 2K announces this "Here Comes the Pain" aspect, like, many people are still going to shit on 2K because they canceled a game and put out an atrocity last year. Like, 2K kind of ruined their credibility, their brand, their authenticity by putting out a half-assed product.
Oh, definitely,
So,
definitely.
if the best case scenario here is they announce the Here Comes the Pain AKI engine concept, and everybody is like, you know, you guys fucking suck, but I'll buy this game. So regardless, 2K is not resurrecting their brand with WWE. There's no way. People will probably just say, hey, thanks for the remaster, but you guys really fucking suck. It's just I think the best case scenario is the AKI game. If they come out saying that we're gonna try to make WWE 2K22 the best it could be, dude, they better be ready for a world of hurt.
They're gonna get fucking ass blasted, dude.
They're gonna get ass blasted.
Up until they'll get ass blasted for the next like year and a half until we actually see anything concrete about 2K22. And even then, like, realistically, it's probably not going to be anything special. Like, I hate to say that, especially as someone who wants to develop games one day, and I hate to not give these people the benefit of the doubts. But I mean, realistically, at this point, we know 2K is not going to give this the budget that it needs to actually make big strides, especially with how 2K20 performed.
Honestly, I think 2K really screwed themselves. Like, they could have honestly canceled WWE 2K20 to make 2K21 a game that was actually worthy of living up to 2K19. And even then, I don't think it even would have made it, because even the fact that they had triangle as the counter button, that immediately just killed it for people. I don't care how good or bad the game was, that just ruined it. But didn't they have a new unique way of doing finishers that just completely was obstructing how to play the game?
New and unique. Literally, they made it so that so many different things you need, like, to press 2 buttons to do.
2 buttons, right?
And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I think, like, signatures and finishers are, like... I think signatures is, like, square and X. And finishers are... You have to, like, press square and X at the same time. But if you don't press them at the right time, then you just end up either doing a strike or a regular grapple by accident.
Because I remember me and John were playing, and that's when I beat him as Ribby, and that was pretty hilarious to me. And I was like, John, how the hell, I just did my finisher with these 2 buttons. It's like, yeah, that's the new way of doing it. And I know exactly why they did that, because they couldn't, like, with the way the engine was built, they couldn't technically override controls to make it the way that the THQ engine had your original finisher button. And they already used the counter button as triangle. So it was like, I don't know, man. I would have loved to see the studio while this game was being made. Like, in the studio, like, I probably would have been tempted to, like, come in absolutely, like, baked and just be like, wow, we're gonna make this game something, and then there's gonna be some guy
definitely
like,
something.
He'll be like, yeah, guys, we need to, like, make the counter button triangle, and immediately I would have, like, a bottle of Jack under my desk and be like, what?
What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, dude, I could see why a lot of employees left 2K after the embarrassment.
I would.
It's just like, can you imagine knowing that you made that game? I can't even imagine being those people. So we can only hope that on Monday at 7 a.m., which no one is going to be there to see it, unless they're going to work or they're at work, that 2K not only announces the end of 2K21, but
21.
They also announce a nostalgic throwback. I swear, if they come out of the gate with this Mortal Kombat WWE game or any other failed THQ project that no one wanted to release, I swear it's gonna be bad. Even if they, like I said, even if they come out saying, yeah, WWE 2K22, we're gonna make it as good as ever, and people are gonna be like, you mean make it shittier than shit? It's like, ooh.
It's like, all right, guys, we know we fucked up on WWE 2K20. That's why we are releasing WWE Supercard 2.
Yo, honestly though, the game's not too bad.
No, it's not, but still, like,
I don't really care about it, but it's not that bad. But yeah, I mean, it's gonna be.
Yeah, I think 2K has enough resources and enough studios that they could easily ship out this other project to another studio that'd be willing to do something awesome with it, and then still have 2K Visual Concepts work on the mainline 2K WWE series.
Exactly. I'm gonna start making the pizza right now.
Oh god. But with that being said, guys, well, another thing that I didn't even mention is how this is gonna affect my channel, because
yeah, I was about to say, how do you feel while I'm making this pizza, since this is Pizza and Pixels? I'll make it right here on cam. How do you feel about this whole thing? Because I know you and Tyler are doing your series and all that good stuff. Got the cheese.
we haven't excuse me, we haven't exactly figured it out yet, because Tyler texted me about it last night. He was like, oh, 2K21's canceled, and I was like, I asked him to send me a link to the article or whatever, and I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, it literally got canceled at like, all right guys, we're gonna
And so we're throwing some ideas back and forth. I have nothing to announce right now. I'll make obviously a separate video. I'm not going to bury this 35 minutes into this podcast. But
gotta bury it.
I don't know. We're deciding what we want to do.
Yeah, shake it up good.
The two choices, or well, he threw out the idea of after we get to our WrestleMania, possibly doing like a superstar shakeup, or like just completely redrafting and starting again. Or I don't know. I think I might want to try to like just do something on one of the older games, or like play some of the older WWE games and see what happens.
I was actually gonna suggest if you wanted to try doing like the SVR GM mode or something.
Because I know you and I threw around doing that for Retro Redux. But I don't know. We'll see.
Here's
but
that.
Yeah, I don't know if the cancellation of 2K21 is going to lead to a better WWE game somewhere down the line, I'm okay with it. But yeah, it'll sure be interesting for the next year and a half on the channel to see what happens, because that's the last thing I want, is my channel to be dead in the water because there's no new WWE game next year.
I'm fluffing the cheese.
Well, while JP is being a master chef over there, let's move on to our next news story. And, well,
You getting there?
you hate to see
cheese
it.
on my keyboard.
You hate to see it, the fact that I accidentally just closed all my tabs on my phone.
That's okay. Take your time. I'm just cleaning up the cheese here. Master Chef here.
Master Chef JP.
Master Chef Podcast Edition. All right, Josh. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna take a photo of this bangtastic pizza so I can post it. And gotta make sure you put all that cheese on top and you fluff it nice into the sauce, because then you get a really damn good pizza.
It looks fucking raw.
Your dough is fucking raw, mate. Fucking raw.
It's like one of the funniest fucking things I've ever seen is, have you ever seen the clip of Gordon Ramsay yelling at someone where he's like, "This squid is still is so undercooked, I could hear it telling SpongeBob to fuck off."
Exactly, dude. It's just a classic. All right, I'm taking a photo.
All right, well, let's start with this one because I thought it was just an interesting thing to talk about. Pro hockey players to partake in NHL 20 esports competition. And I'm not really interested that much in reading the article because I don't really know anything about hockey. But I just thought it was interesting that I've been seeing a lot of sports teams and stuff doing the esports route, which is cool.
You mean like NASCAR doing iRacing and stuff?
Well, I mean, that's a whole nother thing
They're trying to fix iRacing, which is kind of weird.
Did you hear about the NASCAR driver that dropped the N-bomb?
Good. Oh, and then there's Kyle Larson with the N-bomb live on, Oh, yeah, we could even talk about that if you really wanted to. I think
No, not really. I feel like that's been talked about already. I mean, it's a shitty thing to do, obviously. Like, I don't think we need to talk about it to know that it's a shitty thing to do. You should never use slurs of any kind against anyone. That's a beautiful pizza, by the way.
Beautiful, beautiful pizza here.
But yeah, you should never use slurs at all. This dude is clearly just fucking racist as hell. No matter what he tries to say, I don't know. I haven't really kept up with like if he's tried to defend himself, if he's tried to make excuses. I don't really know. But all I know is I literally just saw the clip of him saying it, and that was it. But yeah, completely fucked up. This dude is hopefully done with a racing career or any type of career, because racism shouldn't stand in the world today. That's just fucking stupid. There's no reason to be racist, and if you have a reason, then you're fucking racist.
No, and like the thing is, like with the iRacing NASCAR thing, this is actually something that we could talk about. So there are two drivers that have been really excelled at gaming that got them into racing. One is William Byron, who drives a 24 car. The other guy, I believe, is in the Independent in the Busch Series, or I think now it's the Xfinity Series.
Yeah.
So they got their start playing video games, and then they became drivers. So NASCAR decides to go to the iRacing format. So it turns out that these two people are really excelling at what's happening. So they decide to hit them with penalties because they're too good at the game. So instead of starting in first, they start in 30th or 42nd because they are too damn good to be playing iRacing. It's like, but guys, you're doing iRacing. Who cares? Kyle Busch and Jimmy Johnson win everything anyway. Like, who really gives a damn? You know?
That's fucking
so,
stupid.
yeah, they hit them with penalties, and they're like, "Oh, you guys are too good, so you got to start in the back of the field." Normally, that is the only time it happens when you swap your engine after qualifying. You start in the back of the field. That's how it goes.
Yeah.
You make modifications to your car, you're in the back of the field because that's illegal. But like to be like, yeah, William Byron, yeah, we know you started on video games and now you're like one of the best races in the game. Yeah, you're too good. You can't start in first place.
That's fucking stupid.
I know. So NASCAR iRaces are pretty cool though. I have nothing against them. It's just the policies they're trying to throw on them. It's just as ridiculous as the packages and the rule book in regular NASCAR, which is why people don't watch anymore. So it's crazy.
Yeah, but I know a couple of NBA teams have. I don't remember what team it was, but I remember when they first shut down the NBA season, there was a team. I want to say it was the Utah Jazz, maybe, where they were saying that they were going to simulate the rest of their real life season games in NBA 2K20.
Weren't they playing that on ESPN? I think I was telling me that they're doing NBA simulation. I think. Yeah,
and I don't know, stuff like that's cool to me. Or like I saw last night that MLB players were playing MLB The Show and stuff like that.
I think it's giving you something to watch, during
definitely
quarantine ring, because I know the NHL is shooting for July, but I don't think that's going to happen unless they're doing empty arenas. It's crazy, man, how the coronavirus changed everything as we know it. Yeah. Any concerts are done. It's just crazy. So hopefully they get around to it. But yeah, in the meantime, if they could do simulation through a video game, maybe it'll just teach people that video games actually aren't as bad as they say it is at all.
Yeah.
Too bad. This pizza's really, really good.
Alright. Well, the next news story I was able to find that I had opened. Call of Duty Warzone cheaters are being corralled together. Cheaters could fight themselves in nightmare matches. This one's by Nicole Carpenter over at Polygon. Call of Duty Warzone developers Infinity Ward is rounding up suspected cheaters and tossing them into their own matchmaking lobbies. It's part of a new update for the free-to-play Battle Royale game that was implemented this week to curb cheating in the game. Earlier in April, Infinity Ward announced that it banned more than 70,000 Call of Duty Warzone players for cheating, up 20,000 players from its previous ban wave. With that update, Infinity Ward said it had zero tolerance for cheaters and would provide more updates soon. Alongside the new suspected cheaters lobbies, Infinity Ward has deployed additional dedicated security updates, according to a tweet posted Tuesday night. So yeah, basically, if you're suspected to be cheating in Warzone, you're going to be put in lobbies with other suspected cheaters. So it's basically just going to be 150 people aimbotting against each other.
I think that's just what they get. Because, back in the day, I used to hack codes and everything for the PS2 with Codebreaker and Game Shark and AR Max and crap. But, now that you see people actually doing this crap that really was only intended to do offline on games, now that games are so online and people are still trying to aimbot and do perfect balance, perfect whatever they can, and spawn flips and Joker codes and crap like that. It just kind of sucks because, now that everything is so online, how would you ever get away with it? It's impossible, And now that they're in their own lobbies, they get what they get. I hope they fucking love it, too.
So, yeah, I assume that that's just like a temporary thing. You'll be moved into a suspected cheater lobby until they figure out if you're cheating or not. And then, obviously, if you're cheating, I assume you'll get banned. But
so it's like literally the Hunger Games Warzone Cheaters Edition.
Pretty much, yeah.
And yeah, I don't know. It's just interesting how that all works out. Like, the thing is too, a lot of them are on the PC because obviously you can mod the game immediately. On consoles, that's hard when you have to bypass the network logins and crap. But Because I mean, back when I was randomly doing random cheat codes, a lot of them didn't even affect like performance. It was just for fun, to be honest with you. Now people just taking it the whole way where they gotta be like, it's like steroids at video games. You gotta be better than anybody at any given time. You gotta perfect aim.
I don't understand the whole cheating fad and like in multiplayer games. Like, I don't understand how it's fun.
The first game that I ever encountered that there was a lot of cheaters on was 25 to Life on the PS2, and SOCOM. I'd say SOCOM 2 is probably where it started going, but SOCOM 3 was such a beloved game that you had a lot of them on there doing that crap too, and it went with Combined Assault. Good games though. Just sucks that they were they got plagued by a lot of cheating and a lot of codes and crap like that. But the funny part was 25 to Life, when they knew you were cheating, unless you were able to rehack a master code and do a different code for the game, the engine knew what was going on. So as soon as you would start the game, it would literally just start firing your gun and it would just kill you immediately, and it would just say and it would literally say, "Fuck you, cheater." That's exactly what it would say. And I was like, whoa, because my one buddy's like, dude, you got to see this code for when you're caught cheating on 25 to Life. I'm like, all right. So I put it in. It's this "fuck you, cheater," and this gun going off, and you're getting killed. Dude, you were just getting completely killed as soon as you spawned. I was like, wow. So to see Call of Duty take it in a new way where they just put them all into. Do they know they're actually in cheater lobbies? Like, does it actually make them feel like dunces, like Grand Theft Auto? You remember?
I mean, I don't think it tells you specifically, but I mean, it'd probably be pretty easy to tell when the game starts and you get fucking melted across the map by somebody with a pistol.
Well, then Grand Theft Auto also did it with the dunce cap.
Yeah, with the dunce caps. Yeah, I do remember that.
Because John actually spent 2 months in one of those lobbies. Like,
of course.
I just thought it was so funny. He's like, "JP, it wasn't fun. I'm going to be a better player now. I'm sorry." After he spent 2 months with a dunce cap on. I thought it was great. Oh, God. Good times. I'm proud of Call of Duty. I'm glad they're throwing it back in cheaters' faces, you know?
Yeah,
I think
definitely.
they know what they're going to do, you know? I mean, you fight fire with fire, right?
I mean, especially with Warzone, like, it being free to play, like, there's not... I mean, unless you just straight up IP ban someone, like, they can easily just make a new account and then re-download it somewhere else, you know what I mean? So,
exactly.
We'll see how well these measures work. Hopefully it works out well. But the next story we got is Saints Row the Third Remaster coming to PC, PS4, and Xbox One.
Well, John is going to unbelievably be excited about this. I should just send him a screenshot of this right now when I find this article. Saints Row the Third. Well, I guess I could see why. That was the most complete one.
Well, they already remastered 4.
Oh, they actually... Oh, okay.
Yeah. Saints Row 4 Reelected came out like 3 or 4 years ago. Well, like 2 or 3 years ago.
Reelected was the remaster.
Yep. Deep Silver announced that a remastered version of its 2011 action-adventure Saints Row the Third... This game is 9 years old. Holy fuck, that makes me feel old. Will be released in May. Saints Row the Third Remastered will be available on PlayStation 4, Windows PC, and Xbox One on May 22nd.
May 22nd, I'll tell him that right now.
The outlandish open-world game was first released in 2011, developed by Volition. It lampooned Grand Theft Auto-style urban gang war games, making use of comedic devices such as silly weapons and over-the-top characters. While Deep Silver-owned Volition is working on a new Saints Row game, this remaster is being handled by studio Sparrowsoft. According to a statement from Deep Silver, the remastered game will feature retextured environments, character models, and visual effects, enhanced graphics, and a new lighting engine. It will also include remastered versions of the game's 3 expansion packs and its sundry DLC. The full package will cost only $40. So that is pretty fucking lit.
That's not bad. You know, ironically, while we're talking about remasters, I don't know if this is in your catalog to talk about or not, but Star Wars Pod Racer, the original game from N64, is coming to PS4 and Nintendo Switch remastered on May 12th. May 12th.
Hmm.
According to John, it's not much of a remaster.
I mean, it's a remaster. The only thing I've seen of it that people are like pissed about is, for some reason, even like the PS4 Pro and Xbox One X versions are locked at 30 frames a second, which is weird.
Oh,
You
that's
would think
really
that'd be 60 frames.
60? Wow.
Well, the original game was locked at 30, but you would think that they would have done 60.
Yeah, they had 9 years to make it, you know? Wow. Yeah, I was curious to see.
Yeah, I'll be honest, it doesn't... The only, like... Other than the lighting, I can't really tell that much of a difference in texture quality. I mean, there's definitely a slight improvement, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm still gonna buy it, I'm gonna play it, I'm excited, but...
Isn't that the game that had Perfect Weapon by Black Veil Brides, and you and Isaac would always stock cars in the elevator to bring it to the hotel? Is that the game that you guys did that kind of crap?
Yeah.
That was the game, right?
In Saints Row 3, Isaac and I tried to get every single car in the game into the penthouse. Because we found out that you could open the front doors to your penthouse and drive cars in, and we were like, well, do you think we could get them up the elevator? And so it was this whole process of you would need to drive the car, you would need to up to the front door, and then you would need the other person to get out, open both doors, drive in, and then you had to get in the elevator, and then the other person to trigger the elevator had to get out and like crouch down and stand on the hood of the car to trigger the elevator to go up. And then it would always do that thing.
That's totally funny, dude. Right on the elevator. That's funny.
It was like this long and complicated process. We were just like, let's see which ones work and which ones don't. And we literally did that for like, I think like 6 hours straight the one day. Just for no fucking reason. But speaking of remasters, SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated gets a June release date.
I'm so ready.
This one's by Wesley LeBlanc over at IGN. The release date for SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated has been revealed, and it's coming June 23rd. THQ Nordic announced the date in a pre-hydrated trailer, which features new gameplay footage of SpongeBob, Patrick, and Sandy-based levels as well as some of the boss fights in the game. It also features a quick look at the game's new multiplayer, which seems to be wave-based arena-like battle featuring PvE elements.
Yeah, I'm so ready. Like, I'm so ready. I'm ready. Yo, for real. That game's gonna be great. That game came out October 2003, by the way. I got it for Christmas in 2003, and I was in love with that game. And I played the shit out of it for a solid year, and then I traded in because you know, being a kid and going through games.
Yep. Yep. I know the struggle, man. You don't have to tell me.
So I traded that game in, but let me tell you, that game was fucking awesome. This is the first actual licensed video game to be remastered in full, which is pretty damn cool in terms of a TV show. So yeah, I'm pretty stoked, you know, in the era where licensed games are literally garbage. SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom held up very well. Another game that I want to be remastered is The Simpsons Hit and Run. I'm sure that'll happen soon.
Please! I need it so bad. I need it so bad, JP. Who made that game? It was what? Radical Entertainment? And I need to look that up. Who do you know who owns the rights now to the Simpsons video game stuff? Is that EA?
EA, I think it owns a lot of that.
God damn it. Simpsons video game. I'm just gonna look at the most recently released one and see who published it. Yeah, EA. Fuck me, dude. EA's never gonna do it. EA likes money. EA, I'm talking to you right now. Andrew, I don't even know who the fuck works at EA. I don't know the name of anybody. But you gotta do this, okay? You have to remaster Simpsons Hit and Run. You guys love money. I know you fucking like money, okay? Do it. I'll buy like 4 copies. Just for myself.
They like money, man. Dude, they like money more than like I have ever fucking heard of. They love their money, and I think they're gonna have to do Simpsons Hit and Run remastered. You know, in fact, I'm just gonna Google it right now, just because that game is really fucking cool. I never owned it though, but my buddy would bring it over all the time.
For those of you that don't know, Simpsons Hit and Run is basically it's basically a GTA clone, but in the Simpsons world. And it's like toned down to be like T for teen, so you don't steal cars or kill people. I mean, you do run people over, but they just kind of fall over and like roll down the street a little bit. And like when you steal cars, you just get in the passenger seat and have people drive you around.
Well, a fan created actually a remaster, and it looks pretty cool. I think it should happen. I mean, if you're gonna do Battle for Bikini Bottom, you might as well make Simpsons Hit and Run. I mean, those two games would sell like hotcakes. I mean, there's not many at that rate. You might as well remaster Crazy Taxi, because Simpsons Hit and Run was just like Crazy Taxi with Grand Theft Auto, essentially.
Well, Simpsons actually did have a Crazy Taxi clone, because there was the Simpsons Road Rage.
Oh, Road Rage.
It was literally just Crazy Taxi.
Crazy Taxi, yeah, Road Rage. And then every single holiday you could have different like outfits and stuff.
Dude,
like
that was cool. Hit and Run did that a little bit too. But it mostly only affected the main menu. Like, depending on the holiday, the main menu was like always Homer like sleeping on the couch. And so depending on whatever holiday you played, he would be dressed up as like Santa or a pilgrim and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But
it was
yeah,
cool.
Another game. Well, see, EA, we've been clamoring and begging for Skate 4 for like 10 years, and they still haven't done that. So let's get Skate 4 first, then we can work on Simpsons Hit and Run. Even though I know Skate's not happening because they've officially dropped the license to the name Skate, and that makes me really sad, and I don't want to think about it, so we're going to move on. So, the next thing I wanted to talk about is, this one isn't really a news story, but this is something I was talking to JP about before we started the podcast, and I just wanted to give my thoughts and impressions on Final Fantasy VII Remake. I'm planning on doing like a more in-depth review video just on its own a little bit later on. But I just wanted to give my thoughts and impressions, because I am honestly extremely surprised that I enjoy playing this game, because I'm not really into RPGs all that much. Like, other than Pokemon, I've not ever finished an RPG in my life. Until Final Fantasy VII Remake. But, yeah, I don't know. I love it. The combat is awesome. It's not turn-based anymore. They changed the combat to like a more action-oriented thing, which I think is maybe why I like the game so much, that it's not turn-based like the original game was. But, yeah, the combat is awesome. The story is really freaking fun. I mean, technically, this is just part one of like a series of Final Fantasy VII remakes, because it takes...
Aren't they adding a lot of stuff into the game too? Like doing a whole new thing as well, right?
Well, so for the original Final Fantasy VII, the one that came out on the PlayStation 1, the game was split off into like certain sections, and so the section that you play in Final Fantasy VII Remake is just the first like 10 hours of the original game, but they've expanded upon it. So for the first like 10 hours of the original Final Fantasy VII, it takes place completely in the city of Midgar. And in Final Fantasy VII Remake, it's the whole game is just that 10-hour chunk, but they've expanded it into like 30 to 40 hours. So there's new quests, you know, they've expanded on the story, like given more backstory to the characters and stuff. And it's awesome. Like, the graphics are awesome, the gameplay is extremely fun. I'm loving it so far. But my one gripe with the game, and I was just telling JP about this, and it pisses me off so bad, and it's not just a thing with Final Fantasy VII Remake, but it's a thing that I see a lot of games doing nowadays, and I'm gonna be on a soapbox here. I cannot fucking stand... I can't fucking stand when games break their own established gameplay and rules to make the game harder on the hard difficulty. It's so fucking bullshit.
Mm-hmm. It really is.
Because it's not making the game harder from like an AI standpoint, or from a, I mean, mostly that's what hard should be, is from an AI standpoint, or like, you know, taking more damage, like, you know, your general hard mode stuff. But Final Fantasy VII Remake takes an entire portion of your inventory and locks it off. You can't use any items. And items are used not only for healing, they're used for restoring your magic, they're used for certain attacks. You can use items that, you know, that fill up an enemy's stagger meter, or there's items that, you know, deactivate, like, enemy shields, or like take down their HP by a certain percentage, and all this crazy stuff. And you can't fucking use them at all during the hard mode playthrough. At all. The only way to regain your health is to use your healing spells. So you basically have to have like 2 or 3 of your materia slots used up on all of your characters just for healing spells. Basically, for those that don't know, in Final Fantasy VII, you have these things called materia, and it's basically like customizing how you outfit each of the characters in your party with spells. Like, that's what materia mostly is spells and little character attribute chain, like, modifiers. So there's simple things like, oh, a fire materia allows you to cast fire spells, ice allows you to cast ice spells. But then they get more complex, like there's ones that give you a certain percentage extra health, or a certain percentage extra magic, or gives you certain abilities that you wouldn't have normally, or allows you to revive players that have gone down, and stuff like that. So keep in mind, there's already items for most of these things. Like, being able to heal yourself, there's items for that. Being able to revive down players, there's items for that. But now you have to spend all of your magic points to do it, which means that you almost can't afford to use your magic points to actually cast spells on enemies, because you're so focused on healing yourself so that you don't die. And the game's checkpoint system is all types of fucked up. Which, I mean, granted, I get it. It's based on a PlayStation 1 game where there probably wasn't checkpoints. Like, if you died, it would probably just take you back to the last time you saved. So at least I get it in that sense. But, so for instance, no major spoilers, but last night, and I forgot to mention, hard mode, you can't actually pick to play on hard from the beginning, so you have to actually do, on your first initial playthrough, the highest difficulty you can pick is normal, and the only way you can do hard mode is going through on this game's version of a New Game Plus, basically, which isn't like a true New Game Plus. It's basically just once you finish the game, you can go back through and play using chapter select and play on hard that way, and you keep all of your, you know, all of your XP, your unlocks, everything, which is a good thing, because otherwise there'd be no fucking way you'd be able to do this, because you don't unlock revival and healing materials until like almost halfway through the goddamn game. But yeah, so there's that. So I got to the final boss on hard mode, and no spoilers for who it is or what they are or whatever, but basically the final boss is a series of 2 major fights that are split into like 4 sections each. And last night, I got to the final boss at like 10 o'clock p.m. And I stayed up until 7 a.m. trying to beat the final boss.
This is a real MVP.
And I couldn't. I still can't. Literally, just before we started recording, I was trying to do it again. And the worst part is, when you die, you have to restart from the beginning of the battle, okay? And the only checkpoint throughout these battles that have like 45 different phases is once you beat the first technical final boss, then it gives you a cutscene and transitions right into the second final boss. And once you get to the second final boss, if you die on that, you can restart just from the start of the second boss fight. But so that's the part I was stuck on for most of my like 9 hours of trying last night, or this morning.
I can't imagine trying that for 9 hours.
Dude, I was
9 hours.
It was like it was so far past the amount of rage that I had when you and I played Crash the Wrath of Cortex, and I was like, by the time I'm done, I won't see shit. I was like so far past that point with Final Fantasy VII Remake last night. But yeah, so like I was saying, so once you get to that second final boss fight, if you die there, you can restart from the beginning of the second final boss fight. But the game's save and load system is so fucked up, and its checkpoints are so fucking asinine, that when I got on the game today, I had to do the first final boss fight again. What the fuck? It's fucking bullshit, man.
The first boss fight.
Now I have to do the first one again, and now I can't fucking do it again. It's so fucking annoying. Any developers out there, if you're listening, which
you're listening,
you're probably not, but if you are, if you make a hard mode that breaks your game's established rules and established abilities and established fucking whatever, established gameplay norms should carry through to all difficulties. There shouldn't be some bullshit where like, oh, you don't fucking recharge health, you can't fucking use any of your items, you can't fucking recharge this, you can't fucking do this, you can't do that. Fuck off.
Yeah, you can't do that. That's the game. You can't do that. You can't do that.
It's like, it's such fucking bullshit, dude. Like, it's so fucking dumb.
This is bullshit, dude. That it comes down to. Absolute bullshit.
But yeah, rant over on that. But other than the game breaking its own established rules and, you know, gameplay norms just to be harder for the hard mode, other than that, I fucking love the game. And I'm still going to go through it. I'm still going to get my ass kicked by this boss like 40,000 times after we're done recording this.
Love it.
And I'm still going to platinum it, because at this point, I've fucking put like 10 hours, 11 hours almost into this fucking boss fight. At this point, if I don't platinum the game, I'll feel fucking stupid. But yeah, so. But our last story for Pizza and Pixels today is a bit of a two-parter. I'm going to talk about a little bit of next-gen news, some PS5 news more specifically, because of course I'm the Sony Jabroni.
The Sony Jabroni himself.
So we're going to start off with this article from Polygon.
It stretches.
By
Polygon.
Owen S. Good. Report, Sony making fewer PS5s, struggling with price. Company plans 5 to 6 million units for PS5 in the same period that it sold 7.5 million PS4s in its first 6 months. Sony will make only 5 to 6 million PlayStation 5s in the new console's first 2 quarters on sale, Bloomberg News reported on Thursday, because the company is grappling with the price and availability of the PS5's components. The number is short of the 7.5 million PlayStation 4 systems that Sony sold from November 2013 to March 2014, Bloomberg noted. The company's manufacturing partners were recently informed by Sony of the 5 to 6 million figure, which isn't influenced by COVID-19. It's more that the guts of the machine are so expensive and rare that Sony has been looking at a price tag in the neighborhood of $499 to $549 US. Bloomberg has characterized Sony as struggling with the price announcement. The PlayStation 4 launched at $399, the base model is now $299, and the PS4 Pro, which launched in 2016, is $399. In 2006, Sony launched the PlayStation 3 at $499 US, with the higher-end configuration at $599 US. The announced price was widely mocked by the gaming public and blamed for the console's slow sales relative to the Xbox 360. While the coronavirus outbreak so far only affected Sony's promotional plans for the PS5, Bloomberg sources say that it could still affect the production orders. Sony's board of directors was supposed to approve the business plan for the PS5 at the March meeting, but that hasn't happened, as Japan, like most of the world, has been under stay-at-home orders to contain the virus's spread. Sony has already announced that its report of quarterly figures scheduled for April 30th may be pushed back too. Ultimately, Bloomberg says that Sony will delay the PlayStation 5's launch only if Microsoft does the same for Xbox Series X, also expected to hit stores in the customary holiday period at year's end. So, I think people are looking too much into this. Like, I think people are like, oh, fuck, Sony's fucked. They're fucked. But, like...
They're fucking fucked.
Sure, PS4 did sell 7.5 million in the same period that Sony's expecting to make 5 to 6 million. But also, PS4 was like by far the most widely available console at launch. Like, this generation of consoles, both the PS4 and the Xbox, were the most widely available consoles at launch, like, I think ever. Because they did mostly worldwide launches for the most part, which usually consoles before that hadn't done. And two, I'm pretty sure in the first 24 hours, both of them sold over 1 million units. So
I think people are looking way too into it. See, the thing that's gonna suck, though, I mean, let alone the production of consoles and all.
I think the price is the thing that's gonna sting a little bit more.
Yeah, like, I feel like it's gonna be 500. If I had to guess, 500. Maybe
I think they're really trying to wait as long as they can to see what Xbox does.
That's the thing, yeah. I'm assuming it's going to be 500, but that's just standard practice, so I'm like, okay.
I mean, with all of the stuff that they're talking about with PS5 and Xbox Series X, I honestly wouldn't mind paying 500 for it. Sure, I would ideally love 400, but an extra $100 for what is a huge technical jump in terms of like the SSD and everything, I wouldn't be mad about it. You know what I mean? Like, the price is justified, I think.
It's justifiable regardless. The thing that I'm just looking to see what happens is, like, what are the launch titles going to be?
Yeah, I think that's the more concerning thing.
If like the new Black Ops or Treyarch Vietnam, whatever, Call of Duty Vietnam, whatever it becomes, we already know it's Cold War Vietnam, but in a Black Ops style game. But no matter what happens, you know, I'm looking forward to seeing what exclusives come out for it, because I do want to get the PS5, and I will get the PS5. It's just, if there's not enough launch titles to get it, then what the hell is the point of spending $500 or whatever the hell it is on a console, you know? So I'm just waiting to see what happens. PlayStation Now, I'm sure, is going to be heavily improved. So, I mean, maybe no launch titles. Maybe day one, they're going to be like, yo, here's our PS1 library. Here's our PS2 library and more games, and, you know.
Yeah.
If they do that, at least I'll get the console. I just need a reason to spend the money on the console. Not that I mind spending the money on the console, it's just, am I going to get my money worth? That's the consumer's thing at this point. It should be good regardless. Everybody's hurting in hard times.
Definitely.
Like COVID struggle and all that. But yeah, we'll see what happens. I mean, I'm sure we're going to be getting some good announcements of games that are coming. I mean, as long as the Crash Bandicoot game comes out and the new Call of Duty is on the next console, and, you know, maybe a few in the PlayStation Now things, you know, I'd grab the console. I mean, like the PS2, when I got it, I got Crash Wrath of Cortex, and I got Enter the Dragonfly with the Spyro game, and I think I got 2 other games, and that was it. That was totally cool. So, you know, it really depends what happens, but I do have high hopes that I will be getting it on launch, but it really just depends how they play the release of it.
Sony, at least for the PS4, like, they didn't have, like, this huge, like, system-selling, like, exclusive from their first-party software. Like, they had Knack and Killzone Shadowfall, but those were, like, sure, they were exclusives, but they weren't, like, big blockbuster exclusives, you know what I mean?
Blockbuster exclusives that would... game, you know?
Yeah, but I think for this generation, I feel like they need to have something like that, because Xbox is going to launch... We already know it's launching with Halo, and most likely there's also going to be Forza at launch, so those are 2 pretty big gangbuster games for Xbox right there. I mean, Forza comes out every year, but still.
Exactly, right? Like, it's just crazy.
There has been rumors starting to swirl around again about Crash launching on PS5.
Well, I saw that, I don't know if the reports we heard before is that all the games that were near completion, maybe that was the new Cross-Runner game that just got released exclusively on certain areas in Android and all. That whole Subway Runner Crash Bandicoot game. That might be the game we've been hearing about that is near done, so I don't even know. I'm assuming there is going to be a major console release for 2020 in Crash. I mean, Crash, I
mean, Vicarious Visions hasn't done anything to my knowledge since they released well, since they released the Insane trilogy, and then they did those couple DLC levels, and they ported it to PC, Switch, and Xbox. But since then, as far as I know, I haven't seen their name involved in any other projects. And the rumor has been that Vicarious Visions and Toys for Bob have been working together on this Crash game.
Yeah, so I think the Crash game's definitely going to happen, which is ironic because we haven't had a Crash launch title since PS2, which I was talking about.
Dude. You don't even understand how much of a fucking like 5-year-old kid I'll feel like again if PS5 launches with a new Crash Bandicoot game.
I think it's gonna happen. I mean, we've only been 2001 was when PS1 launched. So yeah, we've been waiting only 19 years. You know, I think it's time to get it. About 20 years later, we get a Crash title to launch with a console, a real Crash game. Not Activision's normal, Crash of the Titans crap, but yeah, I don't know. I'm excited to see what happens with the new console. You know, it's gonna be interesting. It just depends how they play it, honestly.
Yeah, and then the last thing we're gonna talk about is PlayStation 5's controller, which is kind of old news by now, but we haven't had a chance to talk about it on the show. This one comes from the PlayStation blog. Introducing DualSense, the new wireless controller for PlayStation 5. We've reached an exciting milestone with PlayStation 5 as we're starting to ship our new controller and its final design to developers who are implementing its unique features into their games. But first, we wanted everyone in the PlayStation community to get a first look at the DualSense wireless controller and hear our vision for how the new controller will captivate more of your senses as you interact with virtual worlds in PS5 games. The features of DualSense, along with PS5's Tempest 3D audio tech, will deliver a new feeling of immersion to players. When PS4 launched in 2013, the DualShock 4 wireless controller garnered a lot of positive feedback from gamers and developers for being the best PlayStation controller yet, and for introducing forward-looking features like the share button. This brought us the next question: how do we build upon that success? After thoughtful consideration, we decided to keep much of what gamers loved about DualShock 4 intact, while also adding new functionality and refining the design. Based on our discussions with developers, we concluded that the sense of touch within gameplay, much like audio, hasn't been a big focus for many games. We had a great opportunity with PS5 to innovate by offering game creators the ability to explore how they can heighten that feeling of immersion through our new controller. This is why we adopted haptic feedback, which adds a variety of powerful sensations you'll feel when you play, such as the slow grittiness of driving a car through mud, while also incorporating adaptive triggers in the L2 and R2 buttons of DualSense so you can truly feel the tension of your actions, like drawing a bow to shoot an arrow. This provides us with an exciting challenge to design a new controller that builds off the current generation while taking into account the new features we were adding. For example, with adaptive triggers, we had to consider how the component would fit into the hardware without giving it a bulky feel. Our design team worked closely with our hardware engineers to place the triggers and actuators. The designers were then able to draw the lines of how the exterior of the controller would look and feel, with a challenge of making the controller feel smaller than it really looks. In the end, we changed the angle of the hand triggers and also made some subtle updates to the grip. We also took thoughtful consideration into ways to maintain a strong battery life for DualSense rechargeable battery and to lessen the weight of the controller as much as possible as new features were added. Battery life is a huge thing that needs to be improved on DualSense. Because, I don't know about you, JP, but my PS4 controllers die in like 4 or 5 hours, maybe.
Yeah, they die pretty quick. I'm glad. I think there's a mic built into this new one, right?
Yeah, we'll get to that.
That's so cool. Okay. Yeah. I'm digging the way that the controllers are. I mean, like, I think the whole new groove feeling's gonna be awesome with the triggers.
Yeah.
The immersion triggers. It should be interesting to see what happens with it. You know, I'm pretty stoked to see what happens. The controller looks great so far. I'm guessing the system's gonna look just as impressive. Let's see what happens with that, but you know, I think it's gonna be good.
For the buttons, you'll notice there is no longer a share button as we had with DualShock 4. Don't worry, it's not going away. In fact, we've built upon the success of our industry-first share button to bring you a new Create button feature. With Create, we're once again pioneering new ways for players to create epic gameplay content to share with the world or to just enjoy for themselves. We'll have more details on this feature as we get closer to launch. DualSense also adds a built-in microphone array which will enable players to easily chat with friends without a headset, ideal for jumping into a quick conversation. But of course, if you are planning to chat for a longer period, it's good to have that headset handy. I think they might have done this because they probably They probably found that it's like a couple cents cheaper per unit to just include the microphone into the controller than to bundle in the 3.5 millimeter microphone. You know what I mean?
Oh, exactly right.
So,
Exactly.
but still. Now let's talk about the colors. Traditionally, our base controllers have a single color. As you can see, we went with a different direction this time and decided on a two-tone design. Additionally, we changed the position of the light bar that would give it an extra pop. On DualShock 4, it sat on top of the controller. Now it sits at each side of the touchpads, giving it a slightly larger look and feel. But, yeah, so DualSense, the PlayStation 5 controller. JP, what are your thoughts overall?
I think it's looking pretty good. You know, I'm just stoked that they're starting to advance and they're keeping it similar while also advancing a bit. I mean, it's ironic. The controller kind of looks like Xbox and PlayStation had a baby with a controller.
It's like the overall like silhouette of an Xbox controller, but still the PlayStation nature is there with the thumbsticks next to each other, and obviously the PlayStation symbols and stuff. But
exactly. So like I think it's great. You know, I think it's a good way to bring in the next gen, and it's keeping it all the same while improving on many things. You know, that's the cool part. And yeah, I think it's gonna be good. You know, you don't really change it. I mean, the classic saying is, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You know, so I think they're just sticking to their guns and doing what they want. And I'm pretty stoked. I mean, I never had anything against the Xbox controller, so looking at a Xbox controller design-esque, yeah, I think it's pretty fucking awesome, to tell you the truth. I can't wait for the next generation, really.
My only problem ever with the Xbox controller is the offset thumbsticks. I was never used to it, but that's because I've been playing PlayStation my whole life. So.
Yeah, yeah, to offset it with the D-pad and the thumbstick, right?
Yeah, but other than that, I mean, my only concern with the DualSense is, one, I hope that these newer features like the haptic feedback and the adaptive triggers and stuff, I hope it's not too expensive to just to buy new controllers. And two, my other worry is that since Xbox doesn't have these haptic feedback features and these adaptive triggers and all this stuff, are third parties actually going to use this stuff?
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting with even like the triggers and stuff. It's going to be very interesting. I mean, even if they don't, I really don't care. I just want a new PlayStation console. But I think it's cool, like, knowing that they're throwing as much shit into it that they could. So it's going to be pretty good.
I don't know. We'll see. But like I said, I just don't want it to... I don't want these new features to go to waste just like the touchpad did and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Because they were like, oh, the touchpad. And then a couple of games used it at launch for, like, stupid shit.
And then some games use it for a pause button. That's about it.
Yeah, and now it's just a big button in the middle of the controller.
Exactly, right?
Even Sony first-party games barely use it anymore. And when they do, you kind of realize why nobody uses it, because it's confusing as fuck.
You can also use it to type on your keyboard, but it's kind of a pain in the ass.
Yeah, I think it's a lot easier to just cycle through the things with the D-pad, but
yeah, the motion sense was interesting. But yeah, we'll see with the impulse triggers. I'm sure that'll be a lot more usable than what the PS4 brought to the table. I think it's gonna do that, so we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know. I'm excited. I think the controller looks awesome. I've seen a ton of mock-ups on the internet of, like, different color schemes and all this crazy stuff. One thing I do kind of wish that PlayStation would do is take a page out of Xbox's book, because Xbox has this thing called Xbox Design Labs, where you can go on their website and you can pay like an extra, like, I think it's $20, and you can, like, get this Xbox controller with any custom colors you want, have it engraved with your gamer tag, like, change the color of the sticks, the buttons, the triggers, like, all this crazy stuff. And I really wish Sony would do something like that. I would love a good old HexxedPhenom controller.
Exactly, right? You can get your own controller just like that.
But yeah, guys, let us know down in the comments, which controller are you more excited to use, the Xbox Series X controller or the DualSense for PS5. But with that being said, guys, this has been a a quite packed episode of Pizza and Pixels. We did
Yeah,
talk
right.
about WWE for like 35 minutes though, but
That was pretty dope.
I mean, to be fair, that's the lifeblood of this channel, so
It's important. Yeah.
it is definitely important. But guys,
Damn
let us
right.
know down in the comments. But thank you guys so much for tuning in to Pizza and Pixels, the show where JP and I order a pizza and talk about video games until that pizza shows up. And it goes live every other Saturday at youtube.com/HexxedPhenom or on podcast services around the globe, places like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, really any podcast service of your choosing. And guys, until next time, another one bites the crust.